All right, there, guys. Hope you're all doing well after the last night. This article I'm going to cover came out on the Athletic yesterday, and I did see it. And Shauno did a little video for our social media about it. But this is the first time I'm getting a chance to actually do anything about it. So I'm just going to preface this, guys. I'm not going to do like a massive long video about it because expect to see more of this, guys. Is all I'm going to say, because it's basically an article just bigging up Richard Hughes and how much of a good job he's done a year on from, obviously coming into the club. And why are we hearing it, guys? Like, it's just pointless. It really is. Like, had we seen the contracts being sorted out, for the likes of Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk, then yeah, cool, do it. But these players are still leaving. Like, we've got 10 games left, and then these lads are done at Liverpool, right? And we have a debate sometimes on the live streams on this channel where, I turn around and say, with Jurgen leaving and, what's gone on at Arsenal and Man United when their successful coaches left, I wouldn't have signed a contract with Liverpool had I been there this long. But come like October, November time, if I was a player and I was thinking like, I don't really know how it's going to go. I don't know who the new manager is, what we're going to be like, are we going to be successful? Do I really want to nail down my contract with a club that's on its way back down? But by, like, say, October, November, when the club's like going whoosh and the performances are playing through and Mo Salah's playing the best football he's played in a couple of years, I'd have signed by now. If the club wasn't taking the piss with the money they were offering me. And that has got to be what it's down to, guys. It's got to be literally down to Liverpool are trying to lowball these players or not give them the length of the contract that they want. That's as simple as that. And you can big up Richard Hughes as much as you want and try and make it sound like, he's doing his best and do this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, Liverpool are on the precipice of losing the world's best centre-back for nothing. And as of right now, the best player in the world for nothing, because you are unwilling to give the players a decent contract. Like, I'm not being funny. We all agree that Mo Salah's age is potentially a problem here, right? But after probably your best season at the club, would you accept a pay cut? Nah. I'd give him the same terms with a 2-year deal. That is what I would do. I would not give him a pay cut, right? So, yeah. Anyway, I've highlighted a few segments of this article to touch on. I thought I'd just give you a little brief summary at the beginning about some of it and what my thoughts are and everything, because it could be a bit of a long-winded video. But anyway, here we go. So I've skipped the first part and I've gone to this bit here where it says, tomorrow, i.e. today, marks the first anniversary of Edwards' reappointment by FSG. His return came nearly 2 years after he stepped down as a sporting director to take a break following more than a decade of working for Liverpool. Uncertainty reigned at Anfield 12 months ago. Yeah, I agree with that, James Pearce. I should have said as well, this article's by James Pearce and Andy Jones or something I think he's called. Manager Jurgen Klopp had announced his intention to walk away at the end of the season, along with all of his backroom staff. The club were also without a sporting director following the departure of interim appointment George Schmadtke. For FSG, the pivotal first stage in shaping a new era was convincing Edwards to return. Its admiration for him stemmed from the part he had played in recruiting the team that had won the Champions League for Liverpool in 2019 and ended the club's 30-year wait for a domestic title the following season. Initially, Edwards rejected FSG's advances as he did not want his old job back. He had a job as a consultant for Ludonautics, the sports advisory business launched by Liverpool's former director of research, Ian Graham, and was enjoying more time with his family. But with the improved offer of taking over from FSG president Mike Gordon as the owner's key decision maker on all football matters, ultimately proved irresistible. And then there's some quotes here from Gordon, which I'm not going to touch because we know this type of stuff already. As Edwards set about rebuilding the football operation structure, his first task was to appoint Hughes, who was already serving his notice period at Bournemouth. Their relationship went back 2 decades to when Hughes was playing for Portsmouth and Edwards was an analyst at the South Coast Club. I will just also say and preface this, but Hughes is also the person that bought Dominic Solanke of Liverpool, Jordan Ibe, Brad Smith. So there's that little bit of stuff there as well. It was Hughes who led the search for Klopp's successor and the appointment of Arne Slot. looks increasingly inspired, with Liverpool 15 points clear at the top of the Premier League in the final of the Carabao Cup. And obviously the Champions League, but we won't touch that. So much has been achieved over the past year, but there's still plenty more that needs to be addressed, with a busy summer in store, regardless of what silverware is secured this season. We spoke about this on the stream as well, guys. You know, Liverpool could be in line for like so many contracts need to be done. Núñez on his way out, Jota potentially on his way out, Diaz, a left back, Alisson and Kelleher. What are you doing there? Do you need a new centre back? You know, we've just seen Konate go down tired. You know, right back situation with Trent, like another number 6. Like honestly, if you were to break it all down, Liverpool could be looking at spending around 200 million really in today's market, but I don't think they'll do that because it's FSG. So the wait for clarity over the futures of Van Dijk and Salah and Trent, all free agents at the end of the season in 10 games time, has dragged on, and FSG has yet to add a second football club to its portfolio, because that was a key part of Edwards coming back, you know, to get a second club. Apparently, the Atheltic have spoken to multiple sources connected to FSG to understand what the new regime has achieved in its first year and how it plans to tackle the challenges to come in the months ahead. It's funny how you spoke to multiple people at FSG, but you have no idea what's going on with these contracts. Absolutely nothing. But I tell you what, as soon as they get signed or we know what's going on, they'll know everything, guys. They'll know everything. It'll be all over. They'll know when meetings were taking place, when this was happening, when that was happening. Oh, they will know it all. Absolutely everything. I've highlighted some stuff about Edwards, but I don't think we really need to know about this, really. I want to talk about Hughes a bit more. So apparently Edwards speaks to Hughes 3 to 4 times a week during busy periods, and they discuss contract negotiations, potential sales, purchases, and infrastructure. Together they make decisions that Hughes then implements. Hughes fits the mould of how Edwards sees the role of a sporting director, with his in-depth knowledge of the subject matter and how he conducts conversations with staff, players, and agents. It's good to know that he knows how to talk to people, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an obvious thing. Like, how would you become a sporting director that's supposed to handle contract talks and do this, that, and the other if you couldn't talk to people? Fuck me. The degree of separation Edwards has from the training ground also leaves him better placed to say no to requests, something that is far harder if he had close personal relationships with the staff in Kirby. Oh, I wonder if there's going to be some sort of cuts coming. They talk about Alonso being the one that they wanted, but then obviously they did this crunch the numbers and Slot stood out from everybody else. Hughes and Slot have offices next door to each other on the first floor at Kirby. There is no sense of a power struggle, just mutual respect. The dynamics works well, with Slot able to focus on coaching and preparing for matches. Like Edwards, Hughes has proved adept at ignoring the outside noise. Yeah, you can tell that again. We've not heard anything from him since that press conference when he first got introduced a year ago. Rewind to last summer, and there was a clamour among a section of fan base for new signings after seeing their title challenge whittled towards the end of an era. A section of fan base? I mean, so you're telling me that there was people out there that was like, nah, just go it again, run it back. Don't go buy a single player, just run it back. I hate to do this like the day after we've just been kicked out of the Champions League, but they are so full of shit. Like, every club goes into the summer and buys somebody. Only Liverpool have like gone the last 3 transfer windows with only signing fucking Chiesa. Do you know what I mean? Does my head in, guys. Anyway, you know, look at the Champions League last night. If we'd have bought in some new blood either in the summer or in January, you know, before we went into January, we were in 4 competitions. We're in 2 now. 2. Oh, but it's all right, guys, you know. All those people that were saying Liverpool don't need to go do this and don't need to go do that. Yeah, it's fine, you know. We're in 4 competitions. Yeah, we're out of 2 of them now. We're out of 2 of them. Yeah. But we don't need to sign nobody. No. Don't need to sign nobody. However, Hughes was convinced that there was significant room for development in the squad that Klopp left behind, and Slot shared his optimism. Yeah, I agree. Like, he's got more out of Szoboszlai than Klopp did. He's turned Salah again back into a lethal unit. Gakpo's come into his own. Gravenberch, I mean, like Ryan Gravenberch, I don't know why they even say him first. Ryan Gravenberch is like amazing, absolutely fantastic. I mean, if Klopp had been there still, I don't think he'd have played half as much. But we have seen other players, Harvey Elliott, Darwin Núñez, that have not done much. Trent, I don't think Trent's had a good season. In all fairness, you know, is the contract, is that contract? Is that just him? I don't know. Being asked to do something that he doesn't want to do. So these players as well that he hasn't improved. They did target a holding midfielder last August, but missed out on the signing of Zubamendi. And rather than pursue an inferior plan B, they decided that the best option was to use Ryan Gravenberch. Internally, there's a sense that Hughes did not get the wider credit he deserved for the outgoing business that happened last summer. The sale of fringe players like Carvalho, Sepp van den Berg and Bobby Clark generated £62.5 million, and those fees look even better now than they did then. And we spent nothing of it. Not a penny. Wow, amazing. I can agree with selling Carvalho and I can agree with selling Sepp van den Berg. Oh, well, and to be fair, we probably could have done with him this season with the injuries we've had. But players like Bobby Clark, you know, players that won us the Carabao Cup last year, you move them on. You know, players like that we could have probably done at certain points during the season. I'm not saying they would have become key cogs of the machine, but we could have done with them this year. Do you know, like, to help out a little bit. There was a succession plan with the signing of Valencia goalkeeper Mamardashvili with an initial fee of £25 million. He will officially join Liverpool in July, with Kelleher's future uncertain as he approaches the final year of his contract. There you go, another contract, as well as Kanate and Robertson. Kelleher will move on. He wanted to move on last summer. Yeah. But one thing he fails to mention here is the reason why Mamardashvili stayed at Valencia was because of Alisson, and that is what Mamardashvili said himself. So we'll have to see what happens there, won't we, as well, regarding that one. The one immediate addition to Slot's squad, Chiesa, has struggled to make an impact with just 3 starts in all competitions, but for a knockdown fee of £10 million, was viewed as a low-risk option to provide Slot with a 6th senior attacker. I can agree with that. And I do think that Chiesa will probably still be here again next year. But you only used the money that you got from the Solanke going to Tottenham. So you didn't really spend anything. Do you know what I mean? This summer will certainly be busier. Well, fingers crossed. With Hughes having discussed with Edwards and Slot which areas of the squad need strengthening and short list of suitable candidates already being drawn up. Okay, well, I would have expected that. You know what I mean? It's your job. But yeah, I hope it's not the same. You know, it's probably going to be the same positions that us as fans have pointed out for months now. The data-led approach to recruitment that served them so well during Edwards' time as sporting director has been firmly re-established since Klopp's exit. So again, that's another dig at Klopp there, you know, with the signings of Keita. Núñez obviously was very heavily Jurgen Klopp signing. So again, guys, for those of you that are thinking we're going to go and get Isaac, it's not happening. We're going to get someone like Benjamin Sesko, or if you don't want to go to Arsenal, or as a striker anyway, and midfielders, probably someone like Quinton Timber or someone like that. You know, it's not going to be these big players. We're going to go back to what we were doing when we signed Salah, Mane, Firmino, you know, stuff like that. It's going to go back to that, guys. Apparently, one of the FSG mantras is you can't spend it twice. I think everyone could do that, because once you've spent it, it's gone. Which makes it even more important that Liverpool are able to make the most informed choices about how best to use their resources. Edward works with the finance team to create a football budget that ensures they remain within FSG's guidelines of sustainability. Wow. Hughes has led the negotiations with agents of Van Dijk, Salah and Trent, and it was arguably the biggest issue he inherited last year, given the trio have been allowed to reach the final 12 months of their existing deals. Pressure from outside the club to seal free extensions has been intense, especially with Salah and Van Dijk excelling this season, but agreeing extensions has proved problematic. Now, I want to touch on this again, repeating myself. Liverpool should have entered negotiations 2 years ago. They didn't, because they were trying to sell the club at the time. I would not have signed a deal if I was offered one when I knew Klopp was going. But by now I would have done if the offer was right. So just offer, have a compromise. You're not on unless they may be on like these schemes, where it's like, oh, you save so much money, you get a bonus at end of year. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Beyond the trio, Liverpool have a host of other players out of contract in 2027. Hughes is in the process of trying to agree new deals with players such as Bradley and Kanate, who will only have 1 year left in his contract this summer. A representative of one of the players who has dealt with Hughes since his arrival at Liverpool says that despite the sensitive nature of discussions, the potential for confrontation, Hughes was a calm and empathetic manner that allows him to negotiate potentially difficult parts of the conversations. Another agent described him as an honest, good to his word, and having been thrown into a tricky situation. Both referenced the fact that Hughes, who is fluent in Italian and French and has conversational Spanish, has to operate within the financial boundaries determined by Edwards. So yeah, it's all down to money. There you are, guys. It's been basically written there. That's why there's no being contract signed, because it's down to money. Now, moving on to the other clubs, there's one paragraph here. An audit of sustainable alternatives have been completed. This is since obviously the Bordeaux thing failed, and presented to the FSG hierarchy with 20 clubs analysed from financial, technical, and geographical standing points. And Liverpool and FSG, are now having a look at 4 clubs that have been put forward to do due diligence on. So there's 4 clubs out there that FSG are looking at right now to buy. And yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. But yeah, I mean, let me know, what do you think about all this, guys? Like, I'm sick to death of this already, because it kind of smells like, it's not Hughes' fault. Don't be blaming Hughes, which then makes me think that this is all come from Richard Hughes himself. Anyway, guys, I've been waffling on a bit too much here now. Let me know down below what you think about this article. I just don't get why we're having to see it, guys. I really don't. Anyway, I'll leave it with you. I'll speak to you in the next one.